So my batshit, an audience, a mic, and a bloodstained hatchet. These are my rhymes, they're full of depravity, drowning your ass like 2 scoops of gravity. So much despair, trauma and sadness, staring you down, face first in a madness. All my life was anger and pain, it emptied my brain, barely left me half sane. They said what a waste, they said what a shame, so it's time. Today's podcast, it's May 31st, 2013, and it's time for the podcast. I have my lucky pirate hat. I have no shirt on, and I'm all sweaty with a towel because I just got done working out. I have a bottle of water. It's dark out, and I'm wearing sunglasses. Oh, no, that's not even true. That's from the Blues Brothers. The Blues Brothers. A fine comedy duo. An outstanding singing combination. But when they tried to replace John Belushi with Jim Belushi, oh, good Lord. Whew. Ooh, that was rotten. That was abysmal. That was beyond crap. That was super crap. That was so crappy that you would need a kilo of toilet paper to wipe after that movie. That was one of the all-time great failures of all time. But it wasn't bad enough to be good. That's how rotten it was. It was so rotten that it was just rotten. I mean, just beyond rotten. I didn't even see it. That's how rotten it was. But I just imagine how rotten it was. Because Jim Belushi's not funny. He's not funny. He's not good. Which is weird because his brother's hysterical. I don't even think they're really brothers. Other than the fact that they look alike. But, yeah. That movie must have been so tragically horrifying that it couldn't even have been, like, entertaining in a kitschy way. I'm here without the masked co-host once again because the masked co-host is pretty flaky, it turns out. Very flaky. Doesn't show up all the time. He's just busy with his own life. Like, how dare he? I was going to do it with Luke Gallows this week, but that would have entailed me getting up earlier yesterday. Earlier than 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and that's not good. That's not good for anyone. So, but I think next week I may have Luke Gallows or the masked co-host may return, or I may do it live on the road, but I doubt it. I'm going to be in West Palm Beach at the Fatality Fest or something like that. It's a horror convention. Well, when is it? It's next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The night before, I'll be playing Scrabble with my mom. I will kick her ass. Because she plays Scrabble every Thursday night. Now you're thinking to yourself, is that even true? Does he even talk to his mom? Does she even play Scrabble? That might not even be true. That just could be made up on its own. I will point out that this green bottle is my favorite bottle. I have 2 red bottles and a blue bottle. One of the red bottles lost this thing broke off. And you'd be surprising how annoying it is not to have the little pinky or finger handle-y thingy. Because, like, if you're driving in the car and you got your bottle of water and then you buy a bunch of crap and then you only have so much room, you can hook this with your pinky or the next finger or the one after that. You can hook it with all your fingers, really, and a thumb. But without that, you know, it's like, oh, then you got to make 2 trips. I mean, unless, of course, you can squeeze it in somewhere. Maybe put it between your legs and then kind of waddle to the house. The estate, the Raven estate. They should make a state for me, actually, now that I think about it. The Raven State. And it could have the Raven estate located in the Raven State. I'm thinking about that. And then I could masturbate in the Raven estate in the Raven State. I could also collaborate. I could collaborate, and then, no, first I'd masturbate, then I'd collaborate in the Raven estate in the Raven State. This might be a good children's story, except for the masturbation part, because children, I don't think, masturbate. I'm not really sure what age you start masturbating. I'm going to have to read the next Kinsey report that comes out. If you don't know what the Kinsey report is, then, well, you can look it up on the Wikipedias. Yes, I put an S on the end because it sounds better. I like to add S's where they don't belong and take S's off where they do belong. because I had a roommate, Juan, years ago. We called him the Guatemalan despot, but he was actually Puerto Rican, and he would always take S's off because spoke broken English. He spoke really good English, but it was slightly broken, which actually makes things funnier. And he would take the S's off of things, like he goes, "Let's go see Mars Attack. Let's go see the 12 Monkey." Interestingly, it almost always occurred with movies. I think it occurred with other stuff too. But the 12 Monkey. Let's see the 12 Monkey. That's just amusing. Anyway, about Juan, the Guatemalan despot. So one time, I think I told this story before, but it's a fascinating story. Well, not really, but it's interesting. Actually, I told it to Carlos Colon and he liked it, so that's all that really matters. Because it involves Puerto Rican wrestling, the World Wrestling Council. See, when I hear the words World Wrestling Council instead of Federation, when I think of a council, I think of a bunch, like a circle, like a semicircle of old men peering down over their glasses with long white hair and beards, making points and blah, 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 blah. But only in Puerto Rican notions, I guess it's, But I guess if it's the World Wrestling Council, you could probably have some foreigners too. But I think it was just, they called it the world, but it's really Puerto Rican, but that's kayfabed. So one time when Juan was a kid, he went to the matches in Puerto Rico, and the Invader was a big star then before he killed Brody, but he was a big star, and so I guess he was even after he killed him. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. He was a big star, so Juan bought an Invader mask, and he was all happy. He had his Invader 1 mask, and then he was coming home. He was walking home, and there was like 4 or 5 kids, and they jumped him and beat him up, and he was crying. So he put his mask on, and he wouldn't take it off because he didn't want anybody to see him crying. That's amusing. Okay, maybe it's not that amusing. I don't know. Raise your hands if it's amusing. Look at that. See that little bit of blue right there? That's not bad. Usually after a night of signing autographs, I have more marker Sharpie on my hand than I actually put on the paper. But last night I had the clicky ones. So the clicky ones are the best. So I had the clicky ones so that I could click it, and then I could declick it so it would disappear and I wouldn't have to put the cap back on. Because if you leave the cap off for any length of time, well, then you know what happens. And then it dries out, and then you have to go get another one. And not that I don't have 16,000 markers or Sharpies at my house, but that's beside the point. I like the clicky ones because then I don't get it all over my skin. So 1 dot, that's not bad. Well, it's a 1 dot and a little line segment right after it, but that's not bad at all. Man, I got big hands. Look how giant these ham hocks are. These are big hands. Rawr, 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 rawr. Ooh, thumb wrestling myself. Even then, I don't want to do the job. Even thumb wrestling myself, I didn't want to put myself over. Well, I know I wanted to win, but I didn't want to lose, so I had to call a draw. Speaking of drawing, I could, when I have my children's book, there could be a drawing section in there where they would collaborate and they would exacerbate their parents because they would say, "What does masturbate mean?" while they were in the Raven estate and in the Raven state. But what if they were late? And they didn't have a mate. And then they had to wait. But that would be great if you had to wait, but you're late for your date. But she wanted a mate, and so just in case you didn't want to prematurely ejaculate, you could masturbate first. So you could masturbate pre-date, so you would be, need a word for lasting longer that rhymes with date. Well, maybe you went on your date and then you ate, and before you masturbate, and then you collaborate in the bed, but then you find out she's late, and then you're going to be a father, but that's okay because they have the day after pill. That doesn't rhyme. Let's see. And if it was in England, you could do, no, I guess that would, I already used mate. I think I'm going to have to berate myself for going off on this ridiculously long tangent. This is like a Dr. Seuss movie. Dr. Seuss. Dr. Seuss. Hey, Dr. Seuss. I didn't even think he was a real doctor. I'm not sure what he was. Like Dr. Phil. Dr. Phil's not a real doctor. Although I found out that he actually used to be a real doctor, which is disappointing because I thought he was never a doctor because I hate Dr. Phil. But apparently he had some ethics violation type situation things. So that pretty much par for the course. He's a scumbag. I hate Dr. Phil. I do. Anyway, these podcasts will get longer and longer, unless you don't want them to. But I really don't know if you do or you care. But when I have a guest, they will be much longer. When I'm guest free, like I am today, and like I was last week, they will be shorter. And sometimes I think that's better because I think people only have so much time. So they feel like, well, I can't listen to the whole exciting broadcast. But if you make it short, well, then I have time to listen to it all. But if I have more time, then I'd want to hear more. It's like my favorite podcast, The Bugle. Hello, Buglers! That's how it starts out, with John Oliver from The Daily Show. And that is the funniest podcast ever. And hopefully one day I will be competitive with it, but not anytime soon, because this podcast is, I would say, at best weak. And, well, not weak. I would say it's in growing pains. But not Kirk Cameron, because he turned into a religious nut. Yeah, he did. A religious nut bar. And his sister was, she turned into an anorexic bulimic. And the other kid, I don't know, I think he might have died or committed suicide or something. But don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. But what was Mr. Seaver teaching these damn kids, huh? It's like Mr. Drummond. You know, all his kids turned into a mess too. They, all those TV parents really weren't very good TV parents. Well, Dick Van Patten, I guess he was okay though. From 8 is enough. Because Dick Van Patten, he puts out a line of dog food that is really good because my dog, he loves it. Gabriel, where is Gabriel at? I can't whistle. Actually, I'm whistling really loud, but it's sub audio, so humans can't hear it, but dogs can hear it. Because you didn't realize how good a whistler I was, but it's because, you know, it's sub audio. And then I guess if I became a professional whistler, and then I visit my mom, she would be Whistler's mother. But she would never sit still for a painting in a rocking chair wearing some Puritan dress, because that's silly. Anyway, but Dick Van Patten has a really good dog food. It is tremendous for dogs, and my dog loves it and is very healthy. And his son is for the World Series of Poker, is one of the commentators. So, I mean, he can't be all bad. Because the World Series of Poker is good stuff. I would like to play in the World Series of Poker. I'd even like to play in the playoffs. I'd like to get into spring training. But I need a backer. Any backers out there? Who wants to back me in my poker endeavors? And we could have liquor in the front and poker in the rear. Ba-dum-bum. Psh. I'll be here all week. Push your waitress and tip your veal. The veal hates when they're tipped. Over. Okie dokie. Well, that's pretty much it for the podcast here at the Raven Effect podcast. This has been another exciting episode. Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say exciting. I would say it's been another episode. We've had another episode of the podcast. By your Twitter mails and Twitter responses, I will know whether it was good, bad, or indifferent. I probably should check the underneath thing on the YouTube where people can write in, but that would involve me actually doing something, and that would involve me getting off the bed or the couch, and I enjoy driving the couch way too much. I could be a professional couch potato. Yes. Oh, I have recommendations too. My recommendations before we go. Get the air conditioning on a little too cold. I look good from the side view with this hat, don't I? I could cross the Delaware. Anybody got a silver dollar? Anyway, I got some good recommendations. Better Off Ted. It's on Netflix. It's hysterical. It's literally non-stop jokes, non sequiturs, ridiculous statements. I mean, 22 minutes of pure inanity. And not Inanity and Combs, or not Sean Inanity, because he's kind of a douche. A right-wing douche. Maybe he's a douche nozzle. I wonder why they put nozzles on douches. When they could just get a paintbrush. I don't know what that means. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, Better Off Ted. Actually, the reason I watched it was I always heard it was really entertaining, and then I was looking in TV Guide, which is a fabulous magazine. One of the most... Sorry. All right, I'm good now. Anyway, and then TV Guide, they had like a list of the top 50 best shows that they got canceled way too soon. And Better Off Ted was on there. I was like, I'd like to see that. I'd never seen that before. And so I pulled it up on the old Netflix-a-rooney, and which is a hell of a bargain. And they should be sponsoring me. Anyway, I pulled it up on Netflix, and it's hysterical. I've watched 22 episodes in 2 days. That's not bad. Maybe 3 days. But you have to really know how to drive a couch before you can, do that. Also, Orphan Black. I don't know if I mentioned it before because I don't remember what I talk about. But Orphan Black is awesome. That's the best show on TV right now, especially since everything's in reruns. But no, Orphan Black is awesome. It's about the clones, the Clone War, for all you Star Wars geeks. That's actually not a clone war though. They're just about a bunch of clones. But they could have a war. That could happen. What else was I going to recommend? I don't know. So you don't get to hear it. So Orphan Black, I recommend it. And Better Off Ted. Oh, and one other thing. It was on the, I haven't seen this show in years. It was on the list and it reminded me, one of the best shows I've ever seen in my entire life called Prophet. It only lasted 4 episodes. They made 8, so you can find the other 4, I think, on the DVD. I think that's how I watched it. But it is, the first episode is the single best hour of TV. I'd put it in the top 5 best hours of TV I ever seen. Seriously. Seriously. Starring Adrian Pasdar, the guy from Heroes, who was, he was all right in Heroes, but he was great in this. It was awesome. Good stuff. Okay, we're out of here. Time to, oh, I got to go to the chiropractor. That's where I'm going. Time to go to the chiropractor. So I'll probably have to put a shirt on and take my pirate hat off, which would be sad, but, well, whatever. Can't really wear a pirate hat. And not because I don't want to wear one in public, but because the back of the hat, it always hits the back of my seat, and then it goes, whoop, and it pops up like that, and then it's uncomfortable. So, so there. Bye-bye and bye bonds. Turn on, tune in, and, nope, there's nothing. Goodbye.